Vlora is one of the most misunderstood destinations in Albania. Most travelers rush through it on their way to Saranda or Ksamil, thinking it's just another beach city. But here's what they don't realize. Vlora is where the Albanian Riviera actually begins. It's a city where history, beaches, mountain passes, hidden monasteries, and crystal clear water all come together in one place. And unlike some of Albania's most famous destinations, Vlora still feels authentic. After spending more than a month exploring southern Albania, we've discovered that Vlora isn't just worth a stop. For many travelers, it might be the best base in the entire country. So, in this guide, we're covering everything you need to know. How to get here, where to stay, how much things cost, the best beaches, the food, the nightlife, and the incredible places you can visit nearby like Llogara Pass, Dhërmi, and Himarë. By the end of this video, you won't need another guide. And remember to check out the description where you can find different links that could be useful for your trip, discounts on travel insurance, car rental, and excursions that you can do here in Vlora or in different locations in Albania. So let's start with the first topic. How to get to Vlora. Most international travelers arrive through Tirana International Airport, which is currently Albania's main gateway to the world. Although they've been trying to build a new airport right here in Vlora, but it's still a work in progress. From Rinas Airport, reaching Vlora is surprisingly easy. The drive takes around 2.5 hours depending on traffic, and you can either rent a car or take a bus from Tirana bus station or even use one of the many private transfer services available. If you're traveling on a budget, buses are by far the cheapest option. They run frequently throughout the day and cost only a few bucks. And speaking of transportation, let's talk about the best way to move around once you're here, because this is where many visitors make a mistake. Unlike Tirana, Vlora isn't just about the city itself. The real magic begins outside the city. If your plan is simply to enjoy the waterfront, restaurants, and city attractions, then you probably won't need a car. But if you want to discover hidden beaches, mountain viewpoints, and the famous villages of the Albanian Riviera, renting a car is almost essential. The good news is that roads in this part of Albania have improved dramatically in recent years. A new tunnel south of the city has made access to the Riviera much faster than before. Places like Dhërmi and Himarë are now easier to reach than ever. Public transportation does exist. There are buses and local minibuses connecting most towns, but schedules aren't always predictable, and having your own vehicle gives you complete freedom to stop wherever you want. And trust us, on this coastline, you'll want to stop often. Now let's answer one of the biggest questions people have before visiting Vlora. Where should you stay? Most first-time visitors choose the Lungomare area, and honestly, that's what we would recommend too. This modern waterfront promenade stretches for several kilometers along the sea and has become the heart of the city. You'll find restaurants, cafes, beach clubs, supermarkets, and countless accommodation options, all within walking distance. It's lively during the day and even more vibrant after sunset. The only downside is parking. During summer, finding a parking spot can feel like winning the lottery. So, if you're renting a car, try to choose accommodation with private parking included. Another option is staying near the historic center. This area feels more traditional and gives you easier access to the city's cultural attractions. It's quieter, less touristy, and often slightly cheaper than the waterfront. But if your main goal is beaches and relaxation, you may want to consider staying outside Vlora altogether. Places like Oricum, Dhërmi, or Himarë offer a completely different atmosphere. Less traffic, more nature, and some of the most beautiful beaches in Albania. Personally, one of our favorite areas is Dhërmi. The water is incredible, the scenery is spectacular, and despite its growing popularity, it still feels more relaxed than many Mediterranean destinations. The best part, compared to Italy, Croatia, or Greece, accommodation in this region remains surprisingly affordable. During our stay, we found apartments starting from around 25 euros per night. Even modern hotels often cost far less than what you would expect in other seaside destinations around Europe. And that's one of the reasons why so many travelers are falling in love with Albania. Now that you know where to stay, let's talk about what you're actually coming here for. What is there to see in Vlora? And the answer might surprise you. Because while most people associate Vlora only with beaches, the city has a fascinating history and some incredible landmarks that many tourists completely overlook. Let's start in the heart of the city, Independence Square. This is one of the most important places in Albania. In 1912, after nearly 5 centuries of Ottoman rule, Albania declared its independence right here in Vlora. Today, you'll find the impressive Independence Monument standing proudly in the square, surrounded by cafes and local life. It's one of the best places to understand why Vlora is often called the birthplace of modern Albania. Just a short walk away, you'll find the historic center. Unlike the modern waterfront, this part of the city feels much more traditional. There are small pedestrian streets, local shops, restaurants, and some beautiful architecture that reflects Vlora's long history. One landmark you shouldn't miss here is the Muradije Mosque. Built during the Ottoman period, it's one of the oldest and most important monuments in the city. But if there's one place that truly surprised us, it's Canina Castle. Located just 15 minutes above the city, this ancient fortress sits on a hill overlooking the entire Bay of Vlora. The views from up here are absolutely breathtaking. On a clear day, you can see the city, the sea, the Karaburun Peninsula, and even parts of the Riviera stretching into the distance. The castle itself dates back centuries and has been controlled by Illyrians, Byzantines, Venetians, and Ottomans throughout its history. Yet somehow it still feels like a hidden gem. Most visitors never make it here, and honestly, that's their loss. Now let's move to one of the most unique places near Vlora, the Zvernets Monastery. Located inside the Narta Lagoon, about 30 minutes from the city center, this small Orthodox monastery sits on a tiny island surrounded by nature. To reach it, you'll walk across a long wooden bridge that stretches over the water. The setting feels incredibly peaceful, almost like stepping into another world. The monastery itself isn't huge, but the atmosphere is what makes this place special. It's quiet, photogenic, and one of the most beautiful hidden corners of the entire region. If you're looking for a place away from the crowds, this is it. Let's be honest, for most people, the main reason to visit Vlora is the coastline. The farther south you go, the more spectacular the scenery becomes. Starting from the city itself, you'll find the beaches along Lungomare Boulevard. These are convenient, family-friendly, and surrounded by restaurants and beach bars. Perfect if you don't want to drive anywhere. But if you're willing to travel even a little farther, the experience becomes completely different. Just south of the city, you'll reach Radim. This area offers cleaner water, a more relaxed atmosphere, and some fantastic beach clubs. Continue further and you'll arrive in Oricum, a quieter destination that many international tourists still haven't discovered. The beaches here are less crowded and often significantly cheaper than the most famous spots farther south. And then comes one of our favorite parts of Albania, the road towards Dhërmi. Before you even reach the beach, you'll pass through one of the most spectacular landscapes in the Balkans, the famous Llogara Pass. This winding mountain road climbs over 1,000 meters above sea level before suddenly revealing breathtaking views of the Ionian Sea below. It's one of those drives you'll never forget. Mountains on one side, the endless blue sea on the other, and dozens of viewpoints where you'll want to stop for photos. If you're lucky, you might even spot wild deer inside Llogara National Park. And once you descend from Llogara Pass, you'll arrive in one of the fastest growing areas of the entire Albanian Riviera, Green Coast. Over the last few years, this ambitious seaside development has transformed part of the coastline into a modern Mediterranean destination filled with luxury apartments, beach clubs, restaurants, and some of the most impressive sea views in Albania. Love it or hate it, Green Coast has become one of the symbols of Albania's tourism boom. It's modern, it's upscale, and it's attracting visitors from all over Europe. Even if you're not staying here, it's worth stopping by to walk around, overlooking the sea, and see how quickly this part of Albania is changing. And just a few minutes farther south, you'll reach Dhërmi. For us, this is one of the most beautiful beach destinations in Albania. Crystal clear water, beach clubs, restaurants, and a relaxed atmosphere that feels very different from the crowded resorts you'll find elsewhere in Europe. Continue south and you'll reach one of the most famous beaches beaches in Albania, Gjipe Beach. Hidden between dramatic cliffs and accessible only by boat for a short hike, this beach has become legendary among travelers. Getting here requires a bit of effort, but trust us, it's worth it. The combination of turquoise water, towering canyon walls, and untouched nature makes it one of the most spectacular beaches in the country. And then there's Himarë, a place that many travelers end up loving even more than Dhërmi. Himarë combines beautiful beaches with a charming coastal town atmosphere. You'll find excellent restaurants, relaxed cafes, and some fantastic beaches right next to the town center. One of our favorites is Livadë Beach, long, wide, less crowded, and perfect if you're looking for a quieter experience. Nearby, you'll also find Potam Beach, another excellent option with crystal clear water and fewer crowds. Farther south, don't miss Porto Palermo. This small bay is home to one of Albania's most famous fortresses. Built on a peninsula surrounded by turquoise water, it looks almost too perfect to be real. It's one of the most photographed places on the Riviera and definitely worth a stop. And if you're looking for even more space, just a few minutes south, you'll arrive in one of the most charming villages on the entire Albanian Riviera, Qeparo. And unlike some destinations that have become heavily developed in recent years, Qeparo still feels authentic. Continuing south, you'll eventually reach Borsh, home to the longest beach in Albania. Stretching for nearly 7 kilometers, Borsh offers a completely different experience compared to many of the Riviera's smaller beaches. Instead of crowded coves, packed beach clubs, you'll find endless coastline, plenty of space, and a much more laid-back atmosphere. Even during peak summer, it's usually possible to find your own quiet spot. Now let's talk about some of the best experiences and activities you can have while staying in Vlora and the surrounding region. If you're staying in Vlora, there's one excursion that almost everyone talks about, a boat trip to Sazan Island and the Karaburun Peninsula, and honestly, it's easy to understand why. Most tours depart directly from the port of Vlora and take you into some of the most untouched waters in Albania. Many tours also include a stop at Haji Ali Cave, one of the most famous sea caves in Albania. Another experience you shouldn't miss is exploring Llogara National Park. Most visitors only stop at the viewpoints while driving toward Dhërmi, but there's much more to discover. The park is home to hiking trails, incredible mountain scenery, and some of the best panoramic views in the Balkans. And for adventure lovers, there's something even more exciting: paragliding. This region has become one of the most popular paragliding destinations in the Balkans. Imagine taking off from the mountains and floating above the coastline with views stretching from the Riviera all the way to the horizon. Even if you've never tried it before, tandem flights make it accessible for beginners. And keep in mind that there are so many different viewpoints near Canineria where you can simply stop with your car and admire one of the most beautiful panoramic views in Albania. Now let's talk about nightlife, because while Vlora isn't known for massive clubs like some European party destinations, the city has a very unique atmosphere after sunset. As evening arrives, the lungomare completely transforms. Families come out for a walk, restaurants filled with locals and tourists, and the entire waterfront comes alive. This evening walk is more than just a tradition, it's a lifestyle. The best way to experience Vlora at night is simply to join in. Grab a drink, find a spot overlooking the sea, and enjoy the atmosphere. You'll also find cocktail bars, beach lounges, and rooftop venues scattered along the waterfront. Some are elegant and modern, others are relaxed and casual, while almost all of them share one thing: an incredible view. Now let's answer one final question. How many days should you spend in Vlora? If you're only interested in the city itself, 2 or 3 days is enough. You'll have time to explore the historic center, visit the main landmarks, and enjoy a few beaches nearby. But if you want to experience the Albanian Riviera properly, we recommend staying at least 5 to 7 days. That gives you enough time to visit places like Dhërmi, Himarë, Porto Palermo, Qeparo, and Borsh without feeling rushed. And if you're planning a longer trip through Albania, Vlora can easily become the perfect base for exploring the entire south of the country. So, is Vlora worth visiting? Absolutely. In many ways, it represents everything that makes Albania special. A fascinating history, friendly people, beautiful beaches, spectacular mountains, amazing food, and prices that are still far more affordable than much of the Mediterranean. Whether you're looking for adventure, relaxation, culture, or simply somewhere different, different from the usual tourist destinations Vlora delivers. And that's exactly why it has become one of our favorite places in Albania. If you enjoyed this guide and found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe, because we are exploring every corner of Albania and sharing everything we learn along the way. Don't forget to check out the description for all the useful links, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.